Hey guys, I thought I'd do a video to show off sort of bad paint work within sort of Funko Pops and sort of make a bit more of awareness of what to look out for when buying Funko Pops sort of in store, and sort of how to avoid getting really bad paint that you might not be happy with and might make your pop look a lot scruffier than they're supposed to. So I picked a couple of them all lined out of the boxes to sort of show off some different sort of, for me, key aspects of sort of bad paint within Funko Pops and things to look out for, and some little tips of how to get the best Funko Pop that you can. So two of them are original ones, sort of like from original sets, and original Funko Pops from like the early days of Funko Pops did not have the greatest paint jobs anyway. So this is for those who are trying to collect all the original ones, so they know what to look out for and get the best ones. I'll start with Arrow. Oliver Queen, because his is a very facial issue that I've got with mine. And if you look at the beard is not very straight compared to that side, and slightly scruffy hair, so it is a little bit of a wiggly hair and beard line, which some people might have an issue with. I know some people who are a lot more strict with paintwork than I am. For me, this is acceptable. I know that there's a degree of sort of give with paint, but if you're not happy with the paint imagine this one, when you're in the store, say Target, Barnes & Noble, Walgreens, or whatever store that you have near you, could be a local comic book store like Forbidden Planet, or any other store that sells pop vinyls. If they have more than one of a design, take them both out, or how many they have, and look at each one and find the one that has the best paint job that you're happy with. Same as box quality, well, not box quality, box, if it's dented or not. But always compare them. There's no point just buying the first one, that like the front one that's on the shelf, because most likely that one's probably the most damaged one that people have picked up many times, that they've picked the box up over and over again to look at it, so it could be slightly crushed on the top especially. The plastic might be slightly dented down from people pressing at it. So what I usually do is, if the first one, say like that, and that one has been picked up a ton of times because it's in the front, always just go look at the one behind, and that one is 9 times out of 10 a lot nicer box. Doesn't mean it's a nicer paint job, it's a nicer box. But always sort of look out for that. Always take 2 or 3 out of them. If they have them, they might only supply one. If they do, then maybe go back or look around a bit more, if it's a really bad paint job. But always pick up 2 or 3 of each design and sort of compare them to find the best paint job that you're happy with and best box structure, I guess. But that's my biggest advice with any pops, is always just compare the like 2 or 3 at least. The next one is, so that one is for sort of facial, that can get a lot of people's issues. This one is a slight issue, but I know some people do have issues with it, which is my Blue Lantern, the Flash. And as you can see, it looks actually pretty good. The paint on it is really nice, apart from the side where they've stopped the metallic paint and there's a big scratch down it. This was the way it came in the box. You can see it when it's in the box, so always when looking at Funko boxes, when the pop is inside, let me grab one that's actually in a box. I'll grab Wonder Woman, so because she's actually got bad paint as well. So you can see when in boxes. You don't need to just look at the front, literally just try and look right in, and as you can see, her paint on her arms are really bad. The metallic paint has actually started seeping into the skin of the arms, so it's made it quite, looks almost like it's swollen, it looks sore. But yeah, you'll always sort of look about as much into the box as you can, because you're spending money on it for a collection. If it's a gift for somebody and you know they're a Funko Pop collector, always look for good paint as well. You don't want to be giving one that they're not going to be as happy with. Same with boxes. Always look for the best boxes, especially for Funko Pop collectors. They'll love you forever. The next one is an accessories sort of thing that I know as a Funko Pop collector I would have actually returned this one. But I bought this one so long ago that I wasn't actually looking at paintwork. But now I would have avoided this one, which is Wonder Woman. And if you see, the star is actually a very sort of drunken star. This is an early Funko Pop, so it's not the best at paintwork compared to the star on the box, where it's a perfect star. This one is a little bit drunk. And the bodywork, like the actual red on her corset, is it? I'm not sure. The main body of her costume is very sort of lopsided. This side is a lot higher and neater, while that side is like slipping down. But the rest of it isn't too bad, apart from she does have a blacked out earring, compared to nice and red, black. So these are the things you can see while it's in the box. I'll probably repeat it 1,000 times in this video. Always look as close to the box as possible. Some people, the shop people, might think you're weird and being too picky, but as I always say, I've said to people actually in stores before, like the local geek store, comic book store in Glasgow, Geekaboo. I've said to a few people who seen me scrutinising pops deeply, like I've done with my Vision pop, and my Holiday Dancing Group pop. I've scrutinised them deeply because I'm spending money on them, and they're not cheap. And I've had people come up, like customers who asking me, "Oh, why are you looking at them so closely? They're just pops. They're just Funko Pops." And I've said to them, if the paint isn't going to be great, then I don't want to spend money on it. You wouldn't do that with a painting, where you're spending money on it, or an action figure where you're spending money on it, and if it's not a good paint job, you're not going to want to buy it. And they say, "Oh, fair enough, fair enough." So normally I can sit on the floor pulling out 3 or 4 of each design and looking at them. I did that on Black Friday in Game, which is the British version. I'm not sure if it's European version, but I know it's British version of GameStop in America. So it's just a big sort of gaming store that has sort of all the latest games, but they do sell Funko Pops, and some of them, not the best selection of Funko Pops, but most of them are related to gaming, but some of them are a bit more abstract. So sometimes you could have, say, some Arrow ones, or some Flash ones, or some Marvel ones, but most of the time they'd have, say, the Batman Arkham Asylum ones, things like that. So I got yelled at by one of the staff members because I was pulling out 3 or 4, maybe even 6 of each design, sitting on the floor and looking at them all, and they told me that I wasn't allowed to do that. But I said, what about people who are doing that with games? They're pulling out 5 or 6 copies of each game to find the best box that's not dented. I'm just trying to find the best product that's not dented and not badly painted. And I always got kicked out of game on Black Friday for sitting on the floor pulling out tons of each version of a Funko Pop. I don't think I actually bought any because I seemed to have all the worst dented ones. I know in Game they had some Funko Pops that I actually own. I spent a lot of money on them. Let me just go show you it. If it's over here. No, it's not over here. It's actually over here. I bought this one about a year ago from America because it's got Hot Topic on it. And I spent £20 on it altogether. Game was selling them for £10. And you can tell a lot of people were annoyed with that because it all kicked in. But it didn't help that they keep them on the floor. So if you see Funko Pops on the floor, or being displayed on the floor, I would maybe avoid them because they've either been kicked or the store clearly doesn't care about them if they're being set up on the floor. If they're on a shelf that's near the floor, that's different. But these were physically on the floor. The last one I'm going to show you, so that's accessories, sort of like shirt and head tiara thing. This is actual paint, where the paint has been sort of incomplete. This is sort of facial features, which is, given it's a front-facing pop, it's kind of important. And this one is actually hair. That's the issue. So, as you can see, or hopefully you can see, there's a lot of smudging with the hair and coming out of the lines. Which, again, if I was so particular with paint back when I bought this over a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have picked this one up because it's a lot of smudgy paint. That's in the rest of the pop itself is fine. It's the hair that's very smudgy paint. But that was one of the biggest issues with Funko Pops back in the day, like how I started back then. But when these originally came out, that was one of the biggest issues with the paint, was the hair was never neat. So this one is one of the better ones I've seen of Robin's. I've seen where like these little front spiky bits, I've actually not got any paint at all. Or the side bits, or even the back, I've had like big bits, chunks I've not got paint. But this is one of the better ones, but not one of the worst. It's still not great. So, sort of a recap with all of these, because I did get sidetracked quite a bit, is a lot of the paintwork that you can see is visual. You can see it from the front. Some of it you can't, which is sort of a risk, like this one. You see the big scratch on the top? You cannot see it from in the box. So, it is a risk, when same as there's a dent, well, a big sort of scuff up there. That one you can see, but that one actually was my own fault. I dropped it actually just before recording. But the scratch wasn't, that one has been there since I bought it. But sort of a risk when buying Funko Pops is a lot of the paint, given it is the front, you can see if it's bad paintwork. But some of it you can't. So it is a risk whenever you're going to buy a Funko Pop, is the back of it going to be badly painted. And I've seen quite a lot of Funko Pops, actually, that the front of it looks amazing, perfect, but as soon as you turn it round, it looks like crap. Because they know a lot of people will buy them and keep them in the box, so they're not going to look at the back of them. So the back of the hair is not being painted properly, a lot more wiggly lines in the back, which is really stupid. Especially for those who are out-of-box collectors, and like me now, are very particular about the paint. I feel like I'm like a really high maintenance Funko Pop collector. I feel really bad, but for me, it's such an expensive hobby and such an expensive collection, I want it as perfect as possible. There's sort of a lot of pet peeves and things that annoy me with Funko Pops, that some of them cannot be helped, which is bad paintwork, which can sort of be helped. One of them is actually the boxes themselves, which I don't know why it happens, but compared to Funko like these, where they're perfectly square, nice and sharp, these ones don't. Some of them come out perfectly round. They can feel the line where they're supposed to be creased, but they're not, which is strange, and it annoys me because they don't sit properly up on the shelf. But yeah, I'll leave this one here, and if there's any sort of more informational or educational Funko Pop videos that you'd like me to do, I don't mind doing them. I've already done one on what the stickers mean, and that one is going okay. I've had a couple of views on it. I don't do YouTube videos for the views, I do them just because I enjoy doing them. So I do sometimes spam the channel, but oh well, my channel. I sound like an ass now, but oh well. But there's any other sort of informational videos that you'd want me to do on Funko Pops to sort of raise a bit more knowledge about them, I don't mind doing them. I know quite a lot about Funko Pops, and it'd be good to sort of share some different information with them. But if there's any certain topics that people are interested in, just leave a comment down below. I don't mind making a video on it, which will be pretty good. But I'll see you next time.